This edition of WeatherScope is sponsored by MCI Local and Global Communication Services. From around the world to just around the corner.
This is WeatherScope.
Well, it's the New York Marathon that'll be running tomorrow, but it's rainy weather that is racing up the eastern seaboard and is now over New York City this morning. The system brought some heavy rain and wind damage yesterday in the southeast. Good morning and welcome to the Saturday edition of WeatherScope. I'm Bruce Edwards. Now, we have a live crew stationed in New York City for that approaching storm system, and they're getting wet this morning. We're also keeping track of what appears to be another stormy day in the southeast. Let's check in with Marshall Cease in the Forecast Center with all the details. Marshall?
Good morning, Bruce. Good morning, everyone. We are watching a lot of rain fall in New England and the Northeast at this hour, and it's going to be on the increase as the day goes on. We have a second story, and that's severe weather possible in the Southeast today. In fact, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that has just gone into effect. We'll detail that in just a minute. First, I want to show you the setup from yesterday. As on that Saturday, well, that's the soaking we're getting on Saturday. Yesterday, as that low moved across Mississippi and Alabama, it brought some heavy rain to Alabama and Georgia for the kids on trick-or-treat Halloween night, moved up the Atlantic, and by this evening we expect it to be over New York City or over New York State. 1 to 2 inches of rain has fallen along the mid-Atlantic coast. That'll be in the wake of this system, and we're going to see some very strong winds out of the southeast buffeting the New England and the Northeast coast. And that's where Mike Seidel is stationed. He's in New York City this morning. We've been talking with Mike every half an hour. And there's a big New York Marathon tomorrow. The setup right now looks like continuance of the rain. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, that's right, Marshall. We've had plenty of wind and rain over the past couple of hours. The rain moved in about 8:30 this morning. And we're standing here at Central Park West at Columbus Circle. The Freedom Run took place earlier today, and we had all the international contestants kind of tuning up, coming in from the United Nations, running up towards the park. This is Columbus Circle, and it's a pretty bustling Saturday here for Saturday, November. Pretty nice, though, temperature-wise. It's 61 degrees. It's very, very mild for this time of the year in the afternoon, even in the morning this morning. Now, let's go to the math cam and show you what's going on upstairs, and you can look down across Columbus Circle, and you can see the 8th Avenue and Broadway intersections coming into Columbus Circle, looking down Broadway, and as we come back out, you can see the wind blowing the trees around. We've had wind gusts here to 20 miles an hour, and now back down to the street. We are now scanning Central Park, and typically on a Saturday, you'd see a lot of people out here rollerblading, jogging, exercising, but now with the rain, that's cut back on the activity in the park. But there will be thousands of people here tomorrow because the New York City Marathon is run, and the finish line is about 6 or 7 blocks up the street. And we'll be here in the city keeping you posted as that storm rolls up the coast. More rain this afternoon, more wind. There's a coastal flood watch, and another storm will likely bring some more rain tomorrow for the marathon. Good running weather, though, with temperatures in the 50s, although they would like to have some dry pavement. Marshall?
Yeah, the temperature's up a little bit right now, Mike. It's 61 degrees, about 96% humidity, and the winds are now gusting to 21 miles per hour out of the southeast. So we've watched those step up just about every half an hour we've been talking. Let's take a look now at the weather map once again. There's lots of rain over New Jersey and New York now, and it will continue to get heavier. As you can see, it's moved into western New York State as well. Philadelphia is getting some heavy rain. There's been some heavy rain out at JFK also. All right, let's keep walking you through these maps as we get a little further to the south. This is impulse number 2 moving through northern Georgia. No severe weather associated with this system. The tail end of the rain moving into the northeast has lifted out of Richmond, Virginia, and this low will march to the north and again later tonight be located right over New York State. Looks like a rough go of it along the southern New England coastline. There are storm watches or warnings that have been issued for storm force winds all the way southward to Watch Hill, Rhode Island. And there are gale warnings that have been issued for the Long Island area from Sandy Hook north to Watch Hill, Rhode Island. Also, coastal flood watch on the south facing side of Long Island and along the southern Connecticut shoreline, a coastal flood warning. For the Sound and the bays, that's about 11 o'clock to midnight tonight is when you'll find high tide, and those tides are going to be running 2 to 3 feet above normal. About 7 to 8 p.m. is when the tides will be highest out in the ocean, and we expect some very heavy rain again in the northeast. But also in the southeast, we expect some heavy rain also. Yesterday we had rain and severe weather in central Florida. Looks like we're getting some thunderstorms developing again in the same areas north of the Tampa-St. Pete area, moving to the east. Meanwhile, in southern Florida, we've had lighter rain. We have some video I want to show you out of Florida from yesterday where we had some flooding rains. 3.2 inches fell around Sarasota and Bradenton, Florida. Daytona Beach picked up 2.25 inches, or 2 1/3 inches. Trees and power lines were down yesterday, and the heavy rain. Folks are going to be cleaning up from that today because we may have another situation of severe weather. Let's take a look at the water vapor imagery. This is impulse number 2 here that's being carved out of this big trough, or is carving out this trough in the east, and that's going to move into some very, very unstable air in the southeast, and severe thunderstorms are likely. Indeed, as this low moves to the east, we expect those thunderstorms to turn severe. There's a severe thunderstorm watch in effect right now for central Mississippi. Lightning strikes in Alabama and new lightning strikes out in western Mississippi are accompanying some severe thunderstorms. I want to alert you to some of those right now, run through some of the list for you. Northern Issaquena County and Sharkey County under a severe thunderstorm warning. That's until 10:15 Central Standard Time. In central Mississippi, Holmes County until 10:45 Central Standard Time. And in southern Sharkey County until 10:45 Central Standard Time. That's for another 15 minutes. That's about 7 miles east of Onward. These are moving east about 35 miles per hour. Central Mississippi again, Leake County under severe thunderstorm warning. Another system moving east at 35. And then in Mississippi again, Madison County under a severe thunderstorm warning. This one centered about 10 miles west of Camden. And Yazoo County in central Mississippi now also under a severe thunderstorm warning for these cells as they continue to develop and strengthen, moving across central Mississippi at this hour. Stay tuned to the Weather Channel today. We'll keep you advised of this possible severe weather outbreak again along the Florida Panhandle and the south or the Gulf Coast. Meanwhile, let's go back to the studio with Bruce Edwards and Dan Atkinson.
Thanks very much, Marshall. I'll tell you, Mother Nature's trying to make up for a lousy week in the west with wind and rain and all of that because we've got high pressure. We've got beautiful weather over the western states today. Well, let's check on further details about what's going on. Here's Dan Atkinson.
And thank you, Bruce. The pressure gradient between that high pressure in the west and low pressure over the upper Mississippi Valley is producing very windy conditions across the northern plains at this hour. Strong winds coming in from the northwest. Not a lot of moisture to work into precipitation, but you are reporting some light snow this hour at Grand Forks, also at Brainerd, Minnesota, St. Cloud, Minnesota. One of the windiest areas of the country will be western portions of South Dakota, where you have a high wind warning.